Hi, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Gunjan sir.
Hi, good evening, Sandeep. Just give a moment. Aishita is also facing the problem of joining the call, joining this webinar.
Sure. I am getting it sorted from the back end. I hope she'll be joining ASAP.
Gunjan, yes, I think she's joined in. I made her the co-host as well. Ashita, hi. Can you hear us?
Hi,
Hi,
hi.
Ashita. Good evening.
Very good evening.
Thank you very much. We were waiting for you. And now we will be formally beginning with the session, the expert session today. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening to all of you. I I welcome all faculties and students of esteemed institutions under TechSaksham program in today's expert session. TechSaksham program aims to empower, enable, and accelerate women graduates towards technology career. Microsoft and SAP India Private Limited have collaborated to propel and augment the future skill ecosystem to democratize digital education, TechSaksham program for young women learners. So moving on to the path, we have organized an expert session in collaboration with SAP. In the expert session, we have with us Mr. Gunjan C. Patel. He is Regional Director and Head of CSR, SAP Indian Subcontinent. We also have with us Ms. Ashita Singhal. She is an HR professional with 15 years of experience into strategic talent hiring, which involves rich exposure in lateral and university hiring. She is an MBA in HR from IP University, Delhi. So now I would request and invite Mr. Gunjan C. Patel to mark the beginning of the session. Over to you, Gunjan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. First of all, I would like to welcome all the students and faculties. Welcome to the expert series by SAP. And as you know, the TechSaksham program, jointly driven by SAP India and Microsoft India, has been aiming to impart Industry 4.0 skills, workforce readiness, and employability. And from here on, we are going to start expert series so we can bring a live industrial experience and exposure to you through this particular initiative. So I would like to share a presentation, and then I would hand over to my colleague Aishita. She will run you through different nuances of strategic hiring, how you can navigate your career pathways, etc. So with that, I hope all of you can see my screen. Yeah, so I will proceed from here. So basically, TechSaksham program that we have started almost 3.5 to 4 months back is aiming to empower young women with deep technologies or Industry 4.0 skills, employability, and workforce readiness. And here, since we are with the students community, I would like to get into some of the core and fundamentals of how you can build your career, and then subsequently you would get to hear more from Aishita. So First and foremost, and this is also my lifelong lesson, is career is a lifelong journey. It's not a one stop shop, or it's not a end in itself when you pass out from your institution. So you will invariably keep learning all throughout your life, and you should also be open with that, that not one milestone would define your career forever. It's a journey that you will have to cover all through your life. You should be always keen to continuous learning, that is skilling, reskilling, or upskilling. The industry is changing continuously and sometime at very rapid pace. So here is the need for you to continuously upgrade yourself as per the industrial need, as per your passion and interest. Also, I would urge all the students that you acquire deep insights into industry trends and the technology that you like to work into. And again, in careers there are multiple pathways. It is not just one side. So there can be sales and marketing, there would be consulting, there can be software development, and so forth. So whichever in areas that you really like, pursue your interest into it and get deeper insights into it. Also focus on your educational credentials and performance. In initial years, this would mark or this would be a significant value proposition or distinctive features for you. It may be said that marks do not matter, but I feel that in initial years, that is something that you would carry all through your career journey. So I would urge each one of you, it is in your hand to improve or really destroy. So work towards improving your credentials through learning your subjects and your streams well. Build your network and connects. That is something will help you all through your life. So all your friends, colleagues, etc., are your network, your connects. And through TechSaksham program, we would help you with more and more such opportunities through internship, through such as industry expert talk, etc. So I also always ensure that you develop and build your network. Workforce readiness is something that while we intend to impart, it is you who will have to learn it. So for example, communication skills or presentation or agility or leadership skills, this is something that you also have to acquire. You have to make all efforts to learn through different means and techniques. So do focus on them. And as I'm mentioning that we are starting this expert series through SAP Labs India expertise. What you will gain in the series of such event or series of such traction is you will get to understand about industry 4.0 ecosystem, how it is playing out, what are different factors and stakeholders into it, how you can build your career, how you can navigate your career pathways of different choices. We would also through this journey help you work on building solid profiles and hopefully to make you workforce ready, which of course you are already in through your existing learning. And also that's going to be our endeavor. Understanding innovation technology from industry perspective. So we are also planning to host some of the sessions with industry experts who have experience and expertise of different domain, where software and technology can merge, can marry with core industrial field. So how that works, that you will get to learn. Mentorship by tech SAP experts. So this is an ongoing process which we would continue to help you with. And we also like to present to you industry 4.0 demo. So how the software technologies can be used in actual industrial parallel. So those are the things that you would learn all through the year. So I will now pause here and hand it over to my colleague Aishita for her session. Thank you, and wish you a wonderful journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Gunjan. And good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm really excited to be here. And one thing which I loved about it, and I must mention it here, the moment this was posted yesterday on LinkedIn. I see a lot of people reaching out to me on LinkedIn, and that's the kind of passion I really appreciate as a recruiter. Someone making an effort was really wonderful. So great going, guys, and I'm really here to kind of help you, maybe give you some tips and tricks on how you can build an effective CV, how you can proceed in your career. Though I would love to hear from you as well post the session. In case you have any questions, any doubts, please feel free to ask either me or Gunjan. We would definitely talk about it. I see some questions coming on the chat. Gunjan, do you want me to take it now or should we park it for later?
I think we can park it for later, and some of the unanswered questions can be answered by us and EduNet Foundation team. So let's start with the conversation, and I'm sure students will get answers of many of those questions all through your conversation.
Definitely. Great. So let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So as you already know, my name is Ashita, and I have been with SAP for almost a decade, and I'm just here to give you some guidance on how we can build an effective resume. I call it as a life in an A4. Okay, the art of building a CV. Okay, how we can make an effective resume as a fresher when you're going out. I know we have lots of questions in our mind. We have many thoughts, what we have to do, how do we create an effective resume? Will I get a job or not? So some tips and tricks there. But before we start off, I just want to give you a brief on what does a human resource department do. I know many people have an impression that human resources have some set of responsibilities, and what are those set of responsibilities not everyone is aware of, right? Um, so what I say is human resource of any organization is, I think, one of the most important. Okay, be any department. Uh, they are the ones who are like the backbone of the organization. Okay, uh, while we oversee on the compensation and benefit part, we recruit a lot of employees, we hire talent, we monitor their performance, we ensure a better company culture, and we of course promote a lot of job trainings and educational developments. Apart from this, we are also a key holders in making a lot of strategic moves for the organization. Okay, how we can hire the best talents is a part of recruitment. Okay, similarly, many other things where what a human resource team does. Okay, uh, so coming to today's topic. What's in for me here today? Uh, we'll go step by step. Firstly, a lot of people get confused on what is the difference between biodata, CV, and resume. Okay. Um, then some resume and its misconceptions. Okay. What people think is right or wrong. Uh, then art of building a resume, and some minor precautions which you need to be careful about while creating your resume. Are they the same? Biodata, CV, and resume? No, they are not. Okay. Uh, and what's the difference? Okay. And I hope you can kind of make out from the pictures. Biodata is something that we create when we plan to get married. We are looking for a prospective groom or a bride. Okay. Uh, and that's very specific personal details which we like to share with a prospective match. Okay. Uh, CV is something which we create after a certain level of experience where we enter a lot of projects and details. Okay. Coming to the last one, resume, which is the most relevant one for all of you. We expect a fresher to create an effective resume. Okay, and how do we create that? What does a resume mean? A crisp and a brief document which talks about what you have done till now, whether it is your academics and some of your hobbies and stuff. Okay, so let's go further. Resumes and its misconceptions. I know a lot of people think that resume should be just a one pager. Yes, I always recommend that resume should be short and crisp, but that doesn't mean that it should be just a pager. Okay, if you have done projects in your college, if you have something some relevant details to share, please go ahead and do that. Resume can be a good resume, even a two-pager can also be a really good and an effective resume. Okay, uh, resume should have your entire work history. No, actually that's a real big misconception. Okay, uh, take an example. Gunjan has spent so many years in the industry. I have spent so many years of industry. If we start making our CV at this stage, okay, I don't know how much we will end up jotting down. And you think as a recruiter, anyone one would have the patience to read it? No. So the resume or a CV should be really, really relevant and to the point. Okay. Generic resume will fetch a job. That's what a lot of students think about it, but that is not correct. Okay, it has to make sense. It has to be in line with what you have done. It has to be talking about the achievements you have really achieved, the projects you have done. Okay, paper resumes are enough? No, especially nowadays, definitely no. In this virtual setup, definitely no. uh, don't include social media information. Yes, so that is also some misconception that people think that we should not do that, right? uh, Lies are okay. uh, that's what a lot of students, and I know when we are young, we are at that stage, we think that it is okay if we just copy paste it, it is okay. How will a recruiter get to know? But honestly, we smell it. We are experienced recruiters and we look for even minute details. So just use the details which are really relevant, really true. Be honest and use details which are really relevant. Okay, a good resume will get you a job. That is also one misconception. If you make a good resume, which is like a 10 on 10, which I'll say, will definitely get me a resume. Resume definitely helps you get shortlisted, but how you further crack an interview is up to you. Okay, so not necessary a good resume will get you a job. Okay, uh, the art of building a resume. What really should we do? Okay, uh, this is the kind of format which I generally recommend. You should mention your name, your email address, your personal details here. Then the objective or the profile summary, some key skills, education, and in education, I strongly recommend any fresher should definitely enter firstly all the years of the education, when have you passed out, and also your percentages. Okay, project details, what all you have done, which all projects you have actually done, not copy paste. Okay, certifications or achievements, anything you have achieved during your college days, school days, feel free, which is relevant and which is remarkable, please do mention. Okay, uh, your strengths, hobbies, social media references, they're optional. Okay, if you want, you can add it. If you don't want, you can skip. Okay. Sometimes giving kind of details on your personal hobbies, your strengths definitely adds value. But if it is just adding to the pages, you can definitely skip it. References is something I say, if you want to give it, you give it. Otherwise, just write one line. References can be published on request. Okay. So that's the kind of format which we recommend. Okay. um, Coming back, so identify the career path, research on the companies with such job opportunities which you are passionate about, which you are looking for. Okay. Read the JD and make points. Okay. Prepare an outline of key skills. Identify your strengths. Okay. Just don't apply for a job for just for the sake of it, that I see a relevant opening at SAP, I should apply it. First, understand whether it interests you, whether it's making sense, whether it is in line with your career aspiration. Okay, try and understand those things. Uh, Font, colors, length, headings. These are few things which are extremely important when you take care when you are actually building up your resume. One thing I say, and I'm actually covering up in this slide, which is like precautions, what you should not do while you create your resume. Okay, do not unnecessarily add too many colors. Okay. I remember I saw one resume which was totally a colorful resume with a lot of pink, orange, and all those colors. Okay, and honestly, I didn't even feel like reading because it had just too many colors, and it was not giving a professional approach. Okay. Third party resume. We all think that we will actually pass it on to a third party. We'll ask them to create a resume for us and we'll be sorted. We'll find a good job. No, I would strongly recommend that you create your own resume. Do not copy paste from your friends. Do not do that. Okay. That's a strict no, which I say. I see a lot of students doing that. From the same college, I see a similar format. All this, everything is similar, and they kind of so much copy pasted that the projects are also similar. Okay, so that's a strict no. No copy pasting. Okay. Fake projects, as I just covered in the previous point. Okay, do not add any fake projects, because ultimately a recruiter, a HR will catch you. Okay, and then you will be stuck in a loop where you will feel that what to do next. Okay. I would rather encourage you to be honest and tell what you have done, and if you have not done, be honest about it. uh, Show your passion, that why do you need that job. Okay, but do not give any fake projects. Okay. Too many details. If you see this picture, there are so many things on the table. Can you actually even see that? No, right? uh, it's looking so messy. Okay. Similarly, if we add too many details in the resume, okay, you don't even feel like reading it. So as a recruiter, I kind of take 10 seconds to go through a CV. Okay. um, and it gives me a fair idea about what the resume look like. Okay. um yes, if it is attracting, it is making sense to what I'm looking for, I go in detail. But definitely if there is an essay to it, okay, to each point, I would definitely end up losing interest. Okay. I would rather see a short and crisp resume and then talk to the candidate and understand. Okay. uh, no focus on social media. So in professional world, social media is LinkedIn, GitHub, uh, to tools like IT platforms like HackerRank and stuff. invest time there. Okay. um, Facebook, Insta would not really help you fetch a job, right? So concentrate there. No focus on structure. Okay. A lot of students actually do not focus on a structure. Okay. What kind of structure it should be in a resume, and they just like to copy paste or make it a very vague resume. So that's a strict no again. Okay. uh Details like your marital status, your date of birth, definitely yes, it does make sense, and at times it really helps the recruiters. But marital status, your father's name, all those things does not really add value there. Okay. uh okay, so that was a little about how you can build an effective resume. Okay. um, and uh, what how you can a- create an impact, right? um, so the next thing is, what is the X factor? Okay. How you stand out in the crowd. Okay. If you see the picture, you'll get an idea about what I'm talking about. There's one person who's standing with an idea, different idea, and rest everyone is just standing in the crowd. Okay. So what is that that can actually stand out? Okay. That can help you stand out, and that can make a difference. Okay. uh, Firstly, risk taking. You should be that daring and risk taking. You should have that attitude that you take a risk and do things which you believe in. Okay. You think they're right for your career. Take a risk. Of course, you might think that it is difficult, but take a chance. And if you really are doing it with passion, I'm sure you're going to succeed. Okay. Problem solving attitude. I know we all face, even after so many years, not that I don't have problems. We face problems each and every day, but do we have that kind of attitude that we can solve the problem? That is something we really need to have it in our basic temperament, right? Consistency in what we are doing, what we want to. So one day I feel that I want to become a doctor, second day I feel I want to become an engineer, then third day I believe I want to become an interior designer. No, that would not really help, right? uh, High determination and steady focus. So that's something really important. When you start applying for jobs in industry, you should be really determined about what you want to do, and you should have a clear focus. Okay. If you don't have a focus, you don't have a vision, what you want to do in career, then there's something that is missing. Okay. And you'll end up having in a situation where you kind of feel that I'm not in the right place. Okay. So those are the few things which I'm listing here would help you stand out. Okay. um yeah, so that's a little background about what I can offer about a little tips and tricks today. And I'll actually open it up for questions in case you have any questions or anything. So that's pretty much from my side in terms of presentation. So thanks a lot for hearing me.
Thank you
Uh,
very much, Aishita. Thanks a lot for your information and the useful information that you've shared with all these students. Yes, Kunjan, please go ahead.
Yeah, Aishit, I think I have a couple of questions. So,
Sure.
in our program, we work with students who are spread across the country, and many of the students come from uh, essentially not from big cities. And you speak about paper resume. Is it okay? So basically, if you can highlight little bit, what do you mean? Do we encourage students to come up with some kind of the snippet or video what it entails. I mean, how that really attracts recruiters like us. And second is we have a strong focus on project based learning, and many students are having different projects that they go through our program. So how would that can be part of the new age way of creating resume? So this is one question that I have. Yeah.
Sure. So to the first part, answer to the first part, Gunjan, and if I didn't make it very clear while I was talking about it, so earlier, yes, we used to create resume. I know when I joined as a fresher, I used to visit the organizations with the paper resume, right? That was the trend. Okay. Uh, Nowadays, it is generally you are expected to upload your resume on ATS or send it to a recruiter through an email. So, strongly recommended to create a PDF or a Word file with the necessary information. And I kind of showed the pattern as well, right? The format. So that's something that is really useful and handy these days. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the answer to the first part. And let me know if you want me to add anything here or if I have answered to what your question was. Okay. And the
Yes.
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
No, so I think this what you used the word ATS, and I saw one of the students asked about
Yes,
describe little bit on ATS. So I think you can go a little bit deep into it.
sure. I'll come to that. Okay. So ATS is generally an organization's internal tool. Okay. That we use for uh, recruiting. Okay. For and it starts from end to end, whether it is creating a job, whether it is uh, searching for a resume. So it is basically an applicant tracking tool. Okay. What is the status? Okay. So for example, if any candidate wants to apply today in SAP, so we ask them, go on success map, look at the career page for the relevant role and upload your CV there. The recruiter will see the CV. Okay. The recruiter will actually screen through, and if it is relevant, we will get back to you. If it is not relevant, you will get a response from ATS only that you are further not shortlisted.
Mhm. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um, Yep. Anything else?
Maybe Sandeep, you might be tracking questions. So would you like to take a few questions?
Yes, Gunjan. I would be asking questions on behalf of students here. So, Aishita, thank you once again. I would just like to ask you questions that have been posted by students here. One of the student they've asked is one of the professors from one of our college. His name is Professor Ishaq Sheikh. He's from Government Engineering College, Dahod. He's asked, what is the role of keywords in catchy resume?
So, what is the role of keywords? I didn't really
Yes,
understand the.
keywords. Yes, keywords, Ashita. What's the role of keywords in catchy resume?
So the keywords is something. See, when I'm looking for some particular skill set, okay, um, that I'll search for students or candidates with that particular skill set, and I'll search for it while searching. Okay, and that's the keyword that is important in the resume, and that should be there in a catchy resume. The
Thank you.
major skill set. And one thing, again, I keep telling this. I know having a CV after a couple of years of experience and having a CV as a fresher, these are two very different things. Okay, so this keyword thing is generally relevant for experienced people, right? Because that's when we look for particular skill sets. Okay, but when we are looking for some freshers, okay, uh, one thing which I pointed out, it should be really, really important that you talk about your academics very clearly. Where have you done it from? What were your percentages? Okay. Was it a full-time role or not? Okay. All those things are really relevant. Then what projects you have done? Okay, and talk about it. Definitely not in an essay format. No one would have time to read an essay there, but talk about it. What are the relevant projects? And those are the things which really help us shortlist a CV.
Thank you, Ashita. Ashita, we have few more questions.
Sure.
There's a student, she's said that what if we have only one or two actual projects?
That is perfectly fine. That is absolutely fine. Okay, if you just have one or two projects and you have good deep knowledge about it, you have done relevant work there, it is absolutely okay. You can still go ahead and crack an interview.
So I hope, Shruti, that answers your question here. Now, the next question is the basic concepts are clear in any language like PHP, Bootstrap. So can I put that skills in resume or not?
You can put it, but if you really have a knowledge to it, because the moment you will put those terms and if you are getting interviewed for that particular, because you will be evaluated on those skills. So if you just have a basic knowledge, you know about the word, you know about that skill a little, but you can't really code in that, it would not really help you crack the interview. So you should really know a little deeper about it.
We have a question from our end. So she's asking me, do we need to describe our skills or just list it out? Please explain with examples.
You can just list it out, but list it out. I'm going back to what I just said. Okay, list it out on the skills which you are confident about. Okay, uh, which you think if an interviewer will ask you, you will be able to answer. Okay, what you have done in your project, how you have used those skills. Okay, that is something, those skills you actually list it out. But if you have just heard, so for example, you are really good at Java, but you have just heard of Python because it is hot in market. Okay, don't mention it. Okay, because an interview might end up asking you questions on Python and then you'll get stuck.
Thank you. So there's another question. There are actually series of questions. So if I've done projects or internships in different domains, but I want job in a particular domain, so should I include that as experience too, or just certifications related to my interest domains?
You must include what you have done, because even if you are looking for a job in a different domain, the interview would want to know what you have done in your college, right? What is that you have learned throughout your college?
This question is from Manya, and I think this is one of the most asked questions. What to write in a resume as a fresher without any experience?
I think I covered it and I showed it very clearly in my slide as well, right? What you should write is uh, talk about your education, talk about your academic, talk about your uh, projects, what you have done. Okay, talk about a little brief about what what have you done in terms of, and what's the kind of key skills you have. Okay,
Right,
and
thanks.
any certification and achievements, that can be any throughout your schooling to your education, your college, please feel free to mention it.
Right.
Aishita, I have a similar point here, or question rather. So we have all freshers in our program, and typically this is a question that everyone has, and you aptly elaborated about the academics, and in fact even I mentioned that do focus on your academics and performance, because that is something that can become differentiating factor. So
Right.
based on your experience, would you like to give any anecdote to the students which speaks about how academics can make or break your entry into good companies?
Yes, definitely. So again, there are certain organizations who are really not particular on what was your percentage. Okay, if you have cracked your interview well, they don't really care what education, what was the degree you have done, what was your percentage. In SAP, we are extremely cognizant of that. Okay, we hire from certain schools. Okay, we hire candidates with certain percentage. Okay, so those things matters. Okay, and it definitely varies from organization to organization, but yes, most of the big organizations do have a certain cutoff with the percentages, and that's why it is really important to focus on your percentage as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Ashita. Now there's a question. What skills should I put in resume for a cloud computing job as a fresher?
Okay, what skill can you put as a, but it would really depend on Sandeep, on what kind of project the person has done. Okay, just because he or she is looking for a job in cloud computing and they want to key in some keywords there to fetch a job, that is a strict no. And I think again, I have said that very clearly in the session. Please mention the skill sets only if you have done something relevant to it. Show your passion about it. Okay, when you are getting interviewed, show your passion about it to the interviewer, that you want to do something in cloud computing. But if you have not done, if you don't know about it, don't add it.
Right. Now the next question is, should we enter hobby in resume or not? Because I've seen
Yes,
that.
yes. So that's what I said. You can enter, okay, if you want to. It is definitely optional. Okay. But it kind of gives a personal touch if you add. So while I'm interviewing, I always ask a student that what do you like doing outside your study hours, right? What are you passionate about? You get to know about the person, what the person likes to do, right? All of us are kind of ambitious. We want to have a job, we want to do something, but what do we like to do outside work? uh, so that's a good thing to know about it.
The next
Uh,
question that we
Aishita, I
have,
think there is
yeah,
one in
please, Gunjan, go ahead.
yeah, there is one interesting point here someone highlighted is about how to describe internship in the resume. So uh, I mean, it would be great if you can describe. I mean, in our time we used to describe about what was the objective, the in couple of points what we have done, and if there is any achievement or outcome. So qualitative and quantitative data point that describe what we have done and learned during that internship. But would love to know from your perspective what should be student writing about internship experience.
Right, Gunjan, and I think I don't think there has been much change from your time to now as well, because that's what even we expect now. If you have done an internship in an organization for 2 months, right? Talk about the projects. Talk about what you have done there. Okay, give a brief about it. Definitely, you cannot write the complete. history of what you have done in those 2 months or 6 months, whatever was your duration. Okay. But give a brief about it and explain the interviewer at the time of interview what you have done, because an interviewer will ask you what you have done in your internship. Okay. uh, I remember when I was in college, and uh, there were people who tried to just copy paste the projects, right? And then you get caught, right? Because you have not done that project. Okay. An interviewer will ask you. So yeah,
Thanks.
that's pretty much.
Thank you.
I saw an interesting thing on chat. Someone has mentioned, ma'am, please talk in Hindi. I hope everyone is able to understand what I'm talking, or what I'm telling. So if there is anything, Sandeep, I can help with.
Yes, yes. There are a few more questions, and actually, there are a series of questions. So, the question is, what is the percentage of priority skills that a recruiter consider when it comes to technical skills? Like, they want to know what are those technical skills that are considered on priority by recruiters, and the soft skills that they've mentioned. Like, the questions are a bit haywire.
Right. So what are the technical skills? I'll say again, it depends on the role, what we are looking at. Okay. So for example, in SAP only, there are teams who would hire Java's developer, right? Where we will be looking for Java skill set. Okay. But there are teams which will look for ABAP. Okay. There will be teams who are looking for JavaScript particularly. So it is very role specific, and I cannot just talk about one skill which you can mention it on your CV, because it is very role specific.
All right. So, as a fresher, which SAP module should we learn? There's a question from GCEK. I'll just Mansi. Yes. So,
Sorry,
anything that you describe?
as a fresher, what
Okay.
module?
All right.
Sorry.
SAP
Uh,
module. SAP module.
SAP
Uh,
module.
Okay. So any, actually, for that matter, any extra skill set which you gain would definitely help you. But in SAP, so SAP has its own patent language, which is ABAP, right? So that is one thing which you can definitely learn. Okay. A lot of students take a certification of basis, SAP basis. You can go ahead and do that. Okay. And definitely the regular technical skills which are Java or any technical knowledge would be definitely helpful.
Right. And the next question that we have is, ma'am, is it necessary to do an internship for the jobs? This is from Kajal Thakur.
It is recommended. It is recommended. However, it is not a showstopper. Okay. Not that you will never ever get a job if you haven't done an internship, but it is always recommended. It will help you add an experience for yourself as well, and to find a job in future as well.
There's a question from Kanika Joshi. How to make a resume more specific and catchy based on what company and position we are applying for? And should we mention achievements from school times like Olympiads and science exhibitions?
You can
yeah.
definitely, you can. Any achievement, okay, would definitely add a value.
Right. And next question is from Prasad Alai. Do ranks in online coding platforms really matter? Or our percentage in project works are sufficient?
Okay. See, percentages, again, if you remember, I showed a slide how to stand out in the crowd, right? So any exposure to any online platform will firstly help you improve your knowledge, and that's how you stand out from the crowd. Okay, you are doing something different from others. Uh, we have a huge population in India, and we all know about it, right? So how you stand out? What are you doing differently? How can you make yourself that special candidate out of those hundreds? Is something that is up to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So the next question that we have is, do ranks in online coding platforms really matter, or our percentage in project works are sufficient? I think I've asked this question.
You have just covered.
Yeah. So should we opt for cold emailing?
And what would that be? Sorry.
I really did not get this question. So I think
Maybe
yeah.
maybe someone wants to ask that person knows or keep sending out emails to, let's say, recruiter, just by getting to know about the recruiter. Would that help? I think that's what cold emailing, I think.
See, it is good to network. It is good to create a network, but just keep on sending an email to a recruiter would not really help. Honestly, a recruiter would not look through your CV until unless he or she has a requirement or a role relevant for you. So that would not really help you.
The next question we have is from Mansi Gautam. She says that, ma'am, in internship in the resume, when we add our internship details, do we need to mention the role we have worked in the organization, or do we need to describe the project that we were involved in?
Both, actually. I don't know how it is different in terms of her question, but if we are talking about the title and what project she did, yes, both needs to be there.
All right, so there's a question. I've done an internship, but the company did not provide me with a certificate. So should I still add that to my resume?
You can add if you are confident about the project you have done there. Okay, you can always tell the interviewer that you haven't got a certificate from the organization, but you should be confident and there should be some productive outcome of the project you have done, right? Not that you have just done the project somewhere offline because it was some reference or something. No, then no.
Okay, now there's one question that's generally asked by students. If we've done internships in a non-technical field and now we want to shift to a technical field, so how do we explain the shift to the employer or to the HR?
You just need to show your passion, why you want to shift, what you know about the change you're looking for, right? Why would you want to change? Okay, that's the kind of passion a recruiter or a HR person would look at. If it is really making sense, okay, not just for the sake that I didn't like it what I was doing, so I'm trying something else. No, right? You should really be passionate about what you're looking for.
Right. And one more question that we have here is, can I add extracurricular activity that is not related to my studies in resume?
Yes, yes, you can. And I think we have covered this point before as well.
Right. So there's one more question, I think. Just 1 second. Right. Can we add freelancing work? Like if we've done any freelancing work of WebD, then can it be added to the resume?
Yes, you can. Again, if you have honestly done it, if you know something about it, if there was some outcome to it.
All right, so this is one of the questions that has been asked by many of the students here, and I want you to guide them through the entire roadmap and how they can enter into what they are aiming at. The question is it not possible for all students to get into big companies like SAP, Microsoft, and other organizations? What is the roadmap for them if we aim to reach those companies after joining smaller organizations?
Honestly, there is nothing like a showstopper that you can't reach out to the big companies, right? Please feel free to reach out if you find something passionate, relevant to what you are looking for. Okay, it is up to you. If you are passionate, you show your interest, you show your knowledge, it doesn't matter. Definitely the organization will give you a chance. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, which organization you were working with before. It really doesn't matter. If you have sufficient knowledge, I have hired people from really, really small firms who had absolutely very unknown organizations, but they had so much of knowledge, and we have hired them only based on their knowledge.
So thank you very much, Aishita. I think these were the questions that were there from the student side. You've been really, really helpful in explaining the basic concepts. And I'm sure this useful information that you've shared during the session is going to help students in building their resume, strong resume, in building up their profiles, and definitely help them, support them in their interviews also. So this is going to be a very helpful session because it will help them in presenting themselves during the interviews. So before we close with the session, I would just like to you to give us, as in the students, one tip that will really help them in their interviews and in their journey.
Uh, okay, so interview trip is something I thought we will cover it later. But one thing which I definitely would like to give as a tip is be honest and be passionate. Okay, firstly, be really honest in what you are telling the interviewer. Do not just talk about it just to talk about it, right?
Right.
There should be a reasonable reasoning behind what you are speaking, and be passionate about. Do a basic groundwork before going to an interview. One thing I actually like, and honestly I personally appreciate as a recruiter, the candidates who reach out to me before the interview on LinkedIn or somewhere. Okay, they try to make an effort, or even if they don't reach out to me, but when I open up the session, okay, they tell me that, ma'am, we went to your profile, we saw, we read about it, what you have done. That's the kind of passion they show, that's the kind of interest they show. Okay, and they talk about what SAP is doing. That shows that they're really passionate about it. On contrary, there are candidates who have no clue about it, either what SAP is doing or who I am. They wouldn't even know. Right? So
Right, right.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aishita. So Gunjan, would you like to add in something here before we close the session?
Yeah, so thanks. I think Aishita, you covered initial points very well. Now we'll build upon this, and as we promised that we would have a second session soon on how. I mean, that would be more on specifics of building resumes and tips about it. But again, to all students, s- uh, as I mentioned, and I keep telling all students that uh, getting to a company is not an end in itself. Your journey will go on and on till you live or till you choose to pursue your passion. So whether you may join company like SAP, then you may go for higher education, you go into research or whatnot, right? So journey and career would go on. Never stop, don't give up ever, and be honest, which is what Aishita mentioned. That's the most important thing. So with that, thank you, EduNet team, and thank you all students. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and all the best. And thanks a lot for having us here.
Thank you, Aishita. Thank you, Gunjan. Thanks a lot for presenting us with a wonderful session. I hope all these students, they have gained a lot of information about building their resume, and this is going to help them a lot. We will also have our next session. As Gunjan mentioned, we'll have series of session. So thank you very much once again. And thanks to all the students and participants for patiently listening to us. We hope to see you soon once again in our next series of session. Thank you once again, Ashita. Thank you, Gunjan. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
John. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.